Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for making it this evening. I really do appreciate your time. And I do want to just say thank you for being here. Now, this will be a pulse profit session, overworked and undervalued. But before we even get started, I do want to provide some context to our conversation this evening. Now, most of you here might have been aligned or associated with the medical field, whether working directly inside the medical field or alongside the medical field. And there have been a few realities that have come to our attention. Well, I can personally say for me, now, losing money without realizing it, being short on time and not earning enough, and also having your career work against you and not for you. These are some of the things that I've had to contend with as a medical doctor for the last 7 years. And so I do want to just bring it to your attention. I will just have a conversation about it this evening. Now, my name is Shaquille Notice. I'm a medical doctor I've been for the last 7 years. I've spent most of my time working at the University Hospital of the West Indies. I'm currently now a cardiac technician and also an entrepreneur for the last 10 years, where I have maneuvered in real estate, the food business, the entertainment services as well. And during my time as a medical doctor, I've worked very long hours. I felt stuck and also just had that desire for more. And I'm sure a lot of us here can attest to that feeling. Now, during my medical, it was actually during medical school, I started searching for financial and time freedom. Why? Because in my mind, I knew that, well, first of all, being vulnerable, I wanted to pay off my student loans as quickly as possible. And then, secondly, based upon what I was seeing in the medical field by my colleagues, it just seemed like they just had less time on their hand and was always in a rush and never having enough money. And one thing really why this was so important is because I see every day our doctors or physicians pouring into other persons while not having much persons pour back into them. Remember, these are sons, mothers, daughters. We have children who are taken care of, and also our parents getting older. And I found people just struggling to make ends meet. And so now I'm here saying I know that I'm probably not the only one who is seeking freedom beyond the hospital walls or clinical walls, depending on where you are. Now, the wake up call came when I was struggling to have healthy relationships. I was just always tired, not giving the best to my family, not giving the best to my friends, and also not giving the best to my patients because I'm trying to make ends meet, trying to catch up with the little time that I had, and also trying to put more time in work in order to get more money. And it just never added up. And so I realized that hard work did not equal to wealth. It equaled to more exhaustion. And doctors burn out without financial security. And for some reason, for some strange reason, it was always a case where we were rewarded for for sacrificing more, right? And I actually saw where persons who felt happy that they were giving more and felt burnt out on the other end, and it was like a badge of honor. And so my mind started to shift, and I started focusing on sales, systems, and scalability, and took small steps in order to implement these changes. Now, I do want to just walk through this path with you this evening, and it is a story that I'm sharing with you, and it might be a story that you can also relate to. So, why are we here? Well, truly, I do want to share the option of building profitable, purpose driven brands while working in healthcare. Yes, I said it, it is possible. I know we don't talk about it much, but it truly is possible. And also now building a community of doctor, physician, and healthcare workers who are learning and growing together in regards to financial freedom, true time freedom, right? And it's not just about me presenting myself as a teacher. I do want to grow with you and also learn to break these cycles so that we can invest more in ourselves, in our families, and the people that we care about. No, I do want to ask a question to everyone here. What do you think the three mistakes that are costing you now in your healthcare profession? You can type it in the chat. You can let me know. Feel free to share what are three of the mistakes that you think that are affecting you now. Trading time for money, Daniel. Yeah, that is true. I definitely agree with that one, and we're going to touch on that actually. Yes, one more. I just need one more. Yeah, I know. There's so much that it's so hard to to just bring into context. I get you. So I do want to focus on money, mentorship, and mindset. These are some of the three definite factors which affects how we make a living right now in terms of our profession in healthcare. And which one do you think is the most important? A lot of people might think it is money, but I dare say that I think it is the mindset. Our mindset can be stated to be a set of beliefs that we have about ourselves and the world that we live in, and it kind of affects how we see the world as well as ourselves. And so, in regards to our mindset, we have to remember that we ourselves are products of our environment, and it impacts our success. We are also affected by the limiting belief that we have that, hey, am I enough? Am I perhaps underestimating the skill set that I have? Do I have what it takes to run a business as well as be a doctor, be a nurse, be a therapist? All right. And one of the main things I feel like we struggle with is imposter syndrome. I do recall me seeing my first patient, and what she said to me is that, "You're young, man," or "You are so young." I remember. Not all of us are Jamaicans here, so she was saying, "Hey, you're so young for a doctor. Are you sure you are qualified? Are you a student doctor?" And I think that in that instant, I felt like, "Am I really qualified? Despite doing all the work, despite doing all the studies, despite getting qualified and graduating." In that moment, I feel like somebody was questioning my abilities, and sometimes we ourselves question our abilities because of the environments that we are and the limiting belief that we hold. So I do want to break this down to you. Uh, our mindset is composed of our beliefs and our barriers, and the breakthrough, which can either take us to a higher level or keep us at the same level, because we ourselves are an accumulation of our unique skills and personalities, which contribute to our self worth. And based upon how confident we are in those set of skills and our personalities, it kind of helps us form how we see ourselves, our belief, our mindset. And because of our environments, we may have limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome, and also the comparison trap, where we are scrolling through Instagram and comparing ourselves to other persons and this feeling less than we truly are. And now our breakthrough comes from our surroundings, the virtual and physical, for example, where you are located physically or what you're surrounding yourself with in terms of how you're on your phone, the website that you're visiting, and also our growth mindset. Now, mistake number two, mentorship. I do recall, especially in medicine, in med school, there's this story where it was just so linear, where you're a student, you do your internship, you do your senior house officer years, you become a medical officer and a consultant. It was just linear. And then you practice perhaps in a hospital or a clinic, or you make your own practice. And I believe because of this mindset that we've adopted and this narrative, we kind of limit ourselves and we eliminate the possibility of more. So with mentorship, I do want you to be just very careful in terms of how you filter mentorship, right? Because sometimes we don't see the persons behind the advice that we're getting. And so with mentorship, it's very important who we're listening to and what we're listening to. And also, many believe that we have to become before we obtain. And that's not really the case. Why? Because as professionals, we are surrounded with a lot of information. It's really just now filtering that information and leveraging what we truly have. Leverage, that is the key. And I want you to remember that word. The right mentorship, research, and connection will definitely open doors. But at first, we have to get our mindset right in order to know what we truly want, what we're truly looking for, and not limiting ourselves. And also, being in the wrong circles can equal to repeated struggles. Now, with leverage, a lot of people, especially myself when I started out, I remember having a conversation with my father, and he said to me, "Son, just make sure that you become a good doctor, and then you can start your business after." And then I paused. So I should become a professional and then focus on the business after. Am I not the business? Right? And I think that's where a lot of us go wrong in terms of not seeing ourselves as a product, not seeing ourselves as important enough to be a business or a company, right? And so I am going to get into that. But in terms of mindset, mentorship, just knowing who to listen to and what you're filtering through that advice. In terms of network, being in the right circles and asking the right questions. A lot of times we see persons at higher levels and we never take the time to kind of see the person behind the position. And so asking the right questions. How is your family life? How is how did you get here? What did you have to sacrifice? We don't see those things, and we just see the glitter at the end of the road. And so truly finding what is important to us, I do feel that we need to tune into those things. And then the growth, new perspective, research, and strategy. Forming that perspective of what is truly important to me as an individual and doing the research, not only based upon the money, but also the time freedom and what it is that important to you in this life. Is it family? Do you want to have more experiences? What is your trade-off and how am I going to get where I want to get? Now, it's also very important, and this is my this is something that I do love talking about because I don't feel that we talk about this enough. Money, right? When it comes to sharing how much we earn or just having financial thought, I think a lot of people shy away from this. And I think that's one of the mindsets that we probably have to, to discard of and now learn more about money. Because there is so much different levels for this. Daniel, you said that we trade time for money, and I absolutely agree with you. And this is the one-to-one model of our structure as a service provider in the healthcare field. Now, I was listening to my mentor the other day, and I just want to share with you some of the nuggets that were dropped. Now, you have the lowest level of money, which is you trading your time for money, and you know that's very limited. Now, when it is that you start storing other people's time and resources as a manager and looking about other persons, you then level up. And so let's picture it. A doctor who now owns a health complex, now managing different doctors, they would probably earn a little bit more, right? And have a little bit more time. Now, there's another level to that, which is communication. Let's picture it. Now we have, say, a professor or somebody who is an expert in their field, now delivering speaks talks on podcasts and seminars, and they are speaking not just to one person as we usually do, patient, on a regular day where it's one doctor to one patient, but now they're speaking to a multitude of persons, influencing and impacting a bigger audience. They would probably get paid what more than the person on the one-to-one. And then you have imaginative, where it is that you create a product or a service that impacts more. And what I'm trying to drive home is moving away from that one-to-one structure where you're trading time for money to now one to many, where you're now learning how to leverage your time, leverage your personality and your expertise, and bring it to a higher level. Now, I did some research, and based upon this 2016 report, it showed that doctors in Jamaica were earning about up to 5.5 to 6 million per year annually, right? While spending 120 hours weekly. And then in retrospect, when it is that I was in Jamaica in 2023, before I moved to Atlanta, I was earning around 6 mil, because we're going to be very open and vulnerable about money. So let me start. And I was working about that. I remember working in the hospital in the ER. Then I would leave the ER to work at a school um, as their doctor for about 4 to 5 hours, and then go home, sleep, just go back to work, and then repeat. And then sometimes I would work on the weekend at private offices, and it was just a lot. And now, just seeing this on paper, it just makes me realize that working harder does not equate to wealth. I do want to break down the figures because I do want you to see from the perspective of what your time is worth. Now, on average, a doctor working in Jamaica probably earns, say, $3,000 to $4,000 an hour, and that is roughly about $20 per hour if I do my math correctly. All right, and a lot of people say, "All right, cool. How can I fix this problem?" And a lot of people go on to say, "All right, I will just move to the States and earn more money." When that's cool and fine, but as we said, hard work doesn't always equate to wealth, and also sometimes more money does not equal wealth. Because at the end of the day, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And so I did some digging, and I looked up in the literature in regards to what doctors make in the States. This was in 2023 reports, and it's quite a substantial amount, from 38,000 US in Jamaican to now, say, the highest being, say, 788,000. Quite a substantial amount. However, let's look at the numbers. The same report went on to say two-thirds of physicians surveyed are considered an employment change, right? And I found that to be quite interesting, and it just goes to show that the grass is not always greener on the other side. If you're using the same tactics that didn't work in the first place and you're just bringing it over, it's really just insanity. All right. So there are persons who are still working more, but it's not, the maths isn't matching, because, as Daniel said, we're exchanging time for money. All right. And so there was another graph that showed that in the midst of inflation, in the midst of the cuts and everything that is happening, most doctors are actually trying to pursue side gigs or increase their working hours. Right. Daniel said most of the physicians are actually trying to switch their careers, right? And so we have to investigate as to why. And I do understand that we as physicians, as healthcare professionals, we have a skill, but we do need to change our strategy. Now, in regards to money, I do want to break this down. As in regards to the sale, you think service, product, and experience. We have to remember that we ourselves, we are a service, we are a product, we are experience. And let me prove it to you. When I was working in the ER, say I am the doctor at the, I'm the doctor in today, right? When a patient comes in, I greet them with a smile, and they come to me with a problem, and I provide a solution to that problem. I'm the service, and I'm also a product, right? Embedded within the service. And based upon that clientele experience, they can say, oh, that doctor was a good doctor. And the funny thing is, a patient will always say you're a good doctor or a bad doctor based upon, yes, the results, but also how you made them feel, which is the experience. Now, I do believe that behind this, we have to consider our systems, which is the environment, and is it that I am using an automated process, or am I the bottleneck of my system? Meaning, does everything end with me? Do I have to make a move in order for this to happen? Right? Is everything dependent on me? And I know that can be very hard because we're already strapped for time. And also, am I making money just in the physical, or am I making money virtually? Right? Come on, it's 2025, right? And so we have to use all the resources within our power in order to maximize our strategies, maximizing our income, maximizing our time freedom, right? And so we want to move away from the one to one and go move into one to many. How can we serve more people using the experience that I have, the skill sets that I have, my unique uh, personality and characteristics that I have to serve the people that I was intended to serve on this earth, right? No, revenue isn't just about earning, it's about sales, systems, and scaling. Many doctors focus on income but overlook our pricing, automation, and passive income. And one reason for that is because we don't see ourselves as the product, we don't see ourselves as service, we just see ourselves as someone going to work to get money to pay our bills. And we have to change our mindsets in order for there to be an overall change in our results. And so without the right financial structure, we will perpetually be working more and earning the same, and perhaps even less. So we do want to just recap, right? And bring it all into perspective. So the first mistake which we focus on is the mindset, right? Not seeing or not considering sales. I know a lot of persons when they hear the word sales, so the hearts are pumping and racing, and you say, I don't want to to be a salesperson. Whether you choose to or not, you are, because you are providing solutions for the problem of persons. And so we have to see ourselves in the terms of sales in order to make sure that we have the strategy, making sure we're identifying and packaging our unique skill set, offering the service, products, and experiences to fix the problems of who we are called to serve, expanding our horizons as well, learning how to serve not just one but many, and also pricing with confidence and not undervaluing ourselves, right? The next thing is making sure that we go from no systems to having automated systems that are scalable, optimizing manual as well as automated processes to put more time in our day, right? Creating a structured workflow for efficiency, and again, I can't say how important this is, moving from one to one to many, right? And let me just give you an example. You might be, say, a psychiatrist um, who serves patients dealing with, say, depression, right? It is possible to create your brand, create your services, whether through social media, your website, and offer different services for different persons, even per se. And you'll be so surprised there are actually doctors who work every day who are depressed. And so finding your clientele, your niche, who you want to serve, and then making them an offer. Yes, an offer, sales, because guess what? You have a solution, and I think you do the world and the people who need that solution a disservice when it is that you keep it to yourself. So, learning how to serve on a wider scale. And we're going to go from no mentorship to getting in the right circle. Stop waiting to be ready, because you have what it takes. Stop comparing yourself to other persons. Stop suffering. Well, it's hard to overcome imposter syndrome, but knowing that you are valuable and you are able to take the necessary steps and learning. I was listening to a podcast, and what the guys was saying is that the thing that beats, in order to move forward, it takes action, whether you are clear or not. Clarity comes with action, not motivation, because we can get stuck in a cycle of analysis and not taking that first step, which will bring more clarity, right? And also surrounding yourself with the right driven peers and mentors, and leveraging expert networks like Goal Set Circle for real results. Yes, I hear somebody asking, what's Goal Set Circle? I am glad you asked. So the Goal Set Circle is the community that my team and I are building in order to give resources to people who need it, physicians like yourself. Why? Because we want you to experience financial freedom and have time freedom, right? So I know that in my past tenure, I've gone through many businesses. I have failed in some, I have succeeded in some. And what I've learned is that I wish I knew how to fail faster, right? That means having the right people around me to learn from their mistakes rather than having to repeat the same mistakes and find the solutions on my own. So I do want to share that with you guys. I do want to put that in a product that will serve you on a higher level. And so the shift starts now, identifying and fixing the financial pitfalls before they cost you more, and learning the strategies that are needed and required to increase your growth, your revenue streams without the burnout, and also repositioning yourself for a thriving business and career. So I definitely just want to thank you all for listening. I put up on the screen my contacts. So if it is that you do want more information on the community that we're building, um, and also what I do want to do for you guys is I'm planning some workshops with other experts in terms of for real estate, for accounting, an accounting firm that deals specifically with physicians. I do want to get these resources out to you, but I do want you to tell me. I want you to talk to me and let me know, how can I serve you? So I definitely appreciate you all just being here and listening. And we'll definitely be doing more work like this, more value added seminars like this, the Profit Pulse Profit session, in order to just get feedback from you so that we can serve you, your friend, your family, persons who you think this would impact or be of value to.